What are you doing? Hey, come here. Come here, don't do that. Coop, come here. My cat, I literally have no idea what is going on right now, what she's doing. It's just a madhouse. Welcome back to my channel. Hi, if you're new, my name is Tori. I have 4 books on my January TBR, and all of them came out in 2018, which is crazy because very rarely do I read like new releases. So even though I have 4 on my TBR, I actually finished 1 book, so I guess this is 5. I finished 1 book on my lunch today at work. I don't want to go into too much detail about it because I'm going to be talking about it in full in my January wrap-up, but needless to say, I did not enjoy this book at all. I don't even want to go into too much detail about it because it's just going to make me angry because I really did not like this book. And that book is Blackfish City by Sam J. Miller. I've been talking about this book so much on my Instagram. I've been ranting about it. I've just been saying it's like taking me forever to get through it. I started this book in December actually, so it rolled over into the new year. And man, I had such high expectations for Blackfish City, you guys. It takes place in this floating city called Kanak. Or at least I think that's how you pronounce it. I can't be sure because it's spelled really awkwardly. We have 4 main characters. So as the book progresses, you're really just learning about like how these characters are connected. You're learning more about how this city came to be. And it's all really intriguing. Except the delivery is just so poorly handled. And oh my gosh, it's just... there's just so much wrong with this book that I just did not enjoy. So I am going to be talking about Blackfish City in more depth in my January wrap-up at the end of the month. So be looking forward to that. Let's talk about things that make us happy now. So the first book that's on my January TBR that I've moved on to, that I'm just hoping like breathes new life into my lungs and washes the bad taste of Blackfish City out of my mouth, is Circe by Madeline Miller. I absolutely loved The Song of Achilles by her, which I read a couple of years ago. So I'm so excited for this new book. Circe is this fantastic reimagining of the Greek mythological figure Circe. She is banished by Zeus to this deserted island where she kind of hones her craft of sorcery and magic and the occult. And she comes across some really iconic Greek figures like Odysseus and Medea and, gosh, who else? The Minotaur. And this all kind of culminates in Circe having to choose between the gods that she was born from or the mortals that she has come to love. And I've just heard so many amazing things about this book already, and I just have such high hopes for this book because, like I said, I am a huge Madeline Miller fan after The Song of Achilles, and I think this is going to be a really good read. I'm only on chapter 2, I think. I started this today after Blackfish City, so I'm not too far into it, but already I'm so in love with her writing. Oh my gosh. Circe is my current read right now, and I will be finished with this, I think, pretty quickly. The next book that I have on my January TBR is just by a really obscure woman who I'm sure none of you have ever heard of before, and that is Becoming by Michelle Obama. I'm actually extreme. I have chills every time I pick up this book. I cannot wait to read this. Quickly, fun story. I won this book in our holiday company party. Just pulled like a random number. And I think I screamed in the restaurant when I opened it. I was like, oh my God. So I've already read the preface of it. Like the day I got it, I read the preface, and just already when you open this book, you can just hear her voice. It just feels like sitting down with a friend and just talking about life. The book is broken up into, this is of course nonfiction. The book is broken up into 3 parts, Becoming Me, Becoming Us, and Becoming More. And it's this raw and honest look at how Michelle Obama essentially became Michelle Obama. You know, the story takes us from the south side of Chicago where she grew up, and of course her important role as former First Lady of the United States. And oh my gosh, the preface is her discussing how quickly everything happened, like how quickly, you know, the inauguration came around, Trump's inauguration came around, and like how everyone quickly moved them out of the White House and moved the new administration in there. And, you know, she just talks about how that night she just suddenly found herself kind of alone for the first time in a really long time. You know, she talks about how Malia was off at college and her youngest daughter was out with friends and like Barack wasn't there. And she just says, you know, she walked into the kitchen and made herself a sandwich on her own for the first time in years. And she just goes outside and just sits there and is like, starts thinking about everything and how she got to where she is. And oh my God, I like have chills already just talking about it. I'm very excited for this. I'm sure I've seen you guys, I've seen this book on like your IG feeds and your Goodreads pages and stuff like that. So I think a number of you have already read this book. And if you have, you know, let me know down below what you thought about it. And yeah, I can't wait to get to this. And then the last two books that are on my January TBR, I have no idea how I found out about these books. The first book is Social Creature, and this is by Tara Isabelle Burton. I don't know where this book came from. I feel like I was reading a list, and like the book was on some kind of list that I was anyways, this book has been described as the talented Mr. Ripley for the digital age. That phrase means absolutely nothing to me because I've never seen The Talented Mr. Ripley. I've never read the book. I have the book. I've never read it. I know Matt Damon is in the movie, but I have no idea what that book is about. I have no idea what the story is. So yeah, that phrase doesn't do anything for me. But what I do know about the book, aside from that, is that it's following these two girls, Lavinia and Louise. And I believe Lavinia is the wealthy girl of their little, you know, duo. And Louise is just kind of, she sounds like she's the tag-along friend, I guess. And they just have all of these big dreams of seeing the world and doing fancy things and all this. But unfortunately, Lavinia doesn't get to live out those dreams because she ends up dead. I don't know how it happened. I guess that's what the book is for. Just based on the description, the book really dives into their, it says, intimate and intense and just really toxic friendships. So I'm actually pretty stoked to get to this at the end of the month. Actually, I told my coworker about this book. We talk about books all the time. It's fantastic. And she, you know, just is asking me like, oh, what's on your radar? Like, what have you been reading lately? What are you going to read? And I told her about this book, and I told her about the book that I'm going to show you in a minute. And she went out and she bought this book, like, just from me saying it. I was like, oh, you probably shouldn't have done that. I don't know how this book is going to turn out, but she's already in the middle of it, and she said it's really, really good. So we'll see. We'll see. If you guys have read this book, definitely let me know. No spoilers, please. I haven't seen this floating around too much, so we'll see what happens. It looks really glittery and really fancy and nice. What my coworker did say, she said it's very New York. I guess very is supposed to be italicized. I don't know what that means either, but I guess we'll find out. And then the last book that I have on my January TBR is Sunburn. This is the other book that I told my coworker about. This is by Laura Lippman. This will be my very first Laura Lippman novel. She has a ton of them. This book, we have two people. We have two characters, I believe Polly and Adam. Let me double check that. Yep, Polly and Adam, and they meet on this hot summer night in Delaware. Polly has big dreams of going out west. Adam is just like, whatever. But he ends up kind of staying in Delaware, and to Polly's surprise, she ends up staying there with him. So they end up in this whirlwind of a relationship, and it's just, it seems really tumultuous and intense and fiery. And then someone ends up dead, because I guess that's just what makes good books nowadays. Someone has to die. Wow. Hello. Hi. And when that murder happens, the bonds of their relationship are just extremely tested. So I guess it's a matter of who breaks, if anybody breaks, what's going to happen. It's all very mysterious. The last line says, something or someone has to give. Which one will it be? It's very dramatic. That's my January TBR, guys. Let me know down in the comments what you plan on reading this month, what you've already read this month. I've been seeing some of your little Instagram posts. You guys are on a roll. I have no idea how some of you are like 4 books in already, and we're like only on the 8th day of January. It's insane. So yes, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.